change the way he plays or who he is. He needs that to be himself and to play at a high level, and we need that spark from him to get us going sometimes. Like I said before, he's always done a great job of flirting with that line. Just the other night, it was just a little too much. And, I think he felt that and he was pissed off at himself about that. So we moved from it. I think, he knows he or we can't put ourselves in that position again. And I think, he came out and played a hell of a game tonight.
Apology accepted from his teammates for sure, even if some haters on this show, not currently present, about Bobby Portis, still don't want to give him a pass for that. What a game he had the other night. And yeah, he apologized to the team. My pockets are square with Bobby P. Josh, are your pockets square with Bobby P?
That's old news, man. Look,
old news.
I just need him to do what he did in Game 5. That's my main concern. Can he do that twice? I don't know.
Cash Middleton with the bite there. To bring us back into hour number 3, Game 6 is tonight. They staved off the long, dark night, to use a Game of Thrones reference. Nerd. But it's back again, because if they lose tonight, then we're into the offseason. Let's hope that isn't the case. Joining us now, Ty Windisch of the Gyro Step Podcast. Good morning, Ty. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I'm with you guys and Chris and everyone else on playoffs. Things move fast, man. Criticized Bobby Portis a lot for what I thought was a poor Game 3, a poor decision in Game 4, was huge in Game 5 on both ends. We can put all that behind us, bring that similar effort, bring that similar outcome. We're all good going forward. Let's talk about Game 7 versus Game 3, So I am with you guys. I mean, we can do the full evaluation of the full overall package each player provided after. For now, and I think this is where I'm getting into some confusion with people when I talk about the series. I'm over here like, let's go, Gallo. Stay in front of him one more time, Gallo. And people are yelling at me. That's horrible process. It's working right now. That's all that matters. It's do or die. You're one loss away from elimination. Find something that works. And that's what Doc is doing right now.
Look at Ty, Josh, grinding on Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah.
While everyone else is worried about everything else. That's how deep in the weeds our guy Windisch is.
Very true.
Let's go, Gallo. On a scale of 1 to useless, how has Gallo been? Better than useless?
1. Yeah, 1, I would say. If it's 1 or useless, I would say 1. I think he's been solid. He's been solid these last 2 games. I mean, he's had a couple of bad moments, but overall, I actually thought the Portis Gallinari front court gave the Bucks the mobility they needed, and I think they won those minutes by more than the Brook Lopez minutes, despite I think Lopez playing about as well as you can hope. He's just too big. He's just too slow, and I think they've been able to be more mobile and switch more with those groups. And surprisingly, Indiana's not been able to take advantage of the one-on-one opportunities they're getting in that switching defense. Yeah. I think we're going to see some more of them unless, I think there's a guy named Giannis who might have a claim on some of those minutes if he's able to play, but if not, we'll see.
We'll get to that in a second. What's weird about Gallinari, and maybe it's not weird, maybe it's a common feeling. Every time he touches the ball, something inside me screams, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball, get rid of it, pass it. But maybe that's just me. I don't know, Josh. When Gallinari has the ball, what is the inner voice in your mind?
With confidence in that
You're
moment.
not right. You're not like, okay, let him cook.
Who's open? All right, who's open?
Let him cook is not usually at the front of your mind. Okay.
True. But also at this point, who else you want it? Like, what are you going to do? He's a body. That's good. Just and it's not Jay Crowder. So I'm happy it's not Jay Crowder.
I'm very, very comfortable with the decision to play Gallo over Crowder based on what we've seen this postseason.
Yeah. Did you like Crowder's 0 minutes in Game 5? I was a huge fan of his production in Game 5. Huge fan.
I was too.
Ordered the DVD of those 0 minutes.
Yeah.
Due out.
I got the box set.
Yeah. The set, like he said last year, I don't know what my purpose is. I do know what his purpose is. He's not able to do it, and it's too bad. But I am a fan of that. I feel like Doc is trying to give as many players as possible chances early in these games, just to see who's got it, who doesn't, and then make his calls from there. It was the young guys in games 3 and 4. It was the old guys in game 5. We'll see game 6. Hopefully it's everyone. But I think Crowder at no point in the first 4 games looked like he had it at all or was able to contribute. So I'm fine with him. He might have played his last meaningful minute as a Buck, even if they somehow get through this first round. I mean, there's been a lot of guys who looked like they could contribute in some aspect at some point in this series. He's not one of them. I think if you're ever able to get healthy, I would not imagine he gets much more run. I mean, if Gallo's out there providing more on defense versus Siakam than you, what are we even talking about here?
Right. Well, Ty is deep in the weeds trying to get production out of Gallinari. I'm deep in the weeds now, Ty, trying to understand NBA injury reporting terminology because I've never focused this much. I'm holding up for you to look at this. I'm on ESPN's injury report from yesterday. First question is, leading up to games like this, teams release an injury report the night before, and then they'll do one today. Do we know what time today?
So the official injury reporting rules is the only time they need to release the report or update it is the night before a game or the day of if it's a back-to-back. That obviously doesn't apply in the postseason. So I think what we're looking for today is whenever Doc talks to reporters, there's going to be the update, and then the Bucks could also update it at any point.
When is he due to talk today?
I would love to share the answer. I don't know, but I would guess we're not going to know on these 2 players until I think he usually speaks like an hour before games. So I think around then would be when we'll find out about these guys. They could just update their status throughout the day. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to know before then. But they officially. The 2 stars are still doubtful.
They're still doubtful, but and Middleton and Beverly are listed as probable. They've got nagging injuries, Beverly an oblique and Middleton an ankle, but Middleton's got 2 ankles, but whatever. Yeah. The other thing that confused me was the difference between day-to-day and out, because only Giannis is listed as out. Lillard is day-to-day. Can you explain that designation?
Yeah, I think sometimes these apps fill in things. It's an AI. I would say that, yeah. I think, and I know, like sometimes I think it may be like the Bucks app or other apps, and people go, "Oh, look, it's changed." It's like, well, their injury report that they officially put out did not change. I go off that first. I would say in this case, unless the Bucks put out a new injury report, and sometimes they've also just like tweeted out when they do it, like, "Oh, Giannis is now out," right? So I think until we get that, or until Doc says something, we're not going to know. Personally, with all that's come out, could it be gamesmanship to keep those 2 guys as doubtful and then not give a real update until right before the game? It sure could. I'm just saying it could. Not that it is or it isn't, but it certainly could be. Or they could also just not be ready to play yet. I don't think we're going to know. I think the Bucks are intentionally making it so we don't know. And given how much Doc loves to talk and share, it's frankly shocking we've gotten this far without finding out.
That is true. Doc, boy, he's got the media in him. You know, that stint in the media has really made him a gabby fella. But you know, it is what it is. So so on this ESPN report, if you go to it today, don't be shocked because there's a red circle that says out under Giannis. But then it says he's just doubtful, which is the same as Lillard. Why they did that, I have no idea. But when I called it up, I was like, what? No, he's not out. He's maybe, but probably doubtful. Okay, enough of that nonsense. They can win this game without both guys again. They've just got to kind of replicate what they did and counter whatever counter moves the Pacers did. I think the biggest thing, in addition to obviously hitting shots, was they defended better, Ty. They got the Pacers into half-court sets where they had to grind for good looks, and they didn't like it. That's not their game.
Yeah, I think that's a big key that I think the half-court defense is what everyone talked about, but I think Milwaukee did an excellent job taking away transition. Some of that just starts offensively. They really limited the live ball turnovers. I believe Milwaukee outscored Indiana in transition and on fast break points in that game, which is incredible. I mean, that's not something you would expect given the players left playing for both teams. And they need to continue doing that. It starts with the offensive discipline, which was great. And then defensively, not doubling because Halliburton's just too good of a passer. The Pacers are able to take advantage when Milwaukee gets out of rotation totally or sends two. If there's a guy open, they find him. If you defend that Turner Halliburton pick and roll with Lopez, he gets stuck in no man's land. So they stopped doing that. They said Lopez guard Nesmith. We'll put Chris on Turner. We're not afraid of Turner posting us up. This isn't Jokic. This isn't Shaq. Like, he's killing us because he just gets open because the Bucks are too slow. We'll put littler guys on him, see what happens. Nobody was able to make the Bucks pay. I mean, I think the Pacers' leading scorer had like 16 last game. The Bucks aren't trotting out 5 all-world defenders out there. They're just saying, hey, you're going to have to beat us one-on-one, and Indiana couldn't do it. I think it's going to be probably harder. I think we're going to see a more ready to do that Indiana team tonight. But I think the same principle should apply because you can't let this team drive and kick you to death because they will. And they've proven that by now 3 times in this series.
So I wanted to talk about adjustments, right? Because as you just mentioned, you knew that the Pacers are going to make adjustments after losing Game 5. They did after Game 1. How does Doc? What does this team have to do, especially with limited resources, to try to counter that and plan ahead with that? I'm looking at what Doc has to work with, and going. Not only do I not know what those adjustments should be, what Doc should be planning, but I don't know what options he necessarily has either.
I mean, yeah, that's the tricky part about being where the Bucks are at. One of the tricky parts about being where the Bucks are at, because there's only so many levers you can pull, assuming you have the same group of players available. I wonder if we would maybe see a big Ajax return to the rotation, because I do think, I think one of the Indiana adjustments will be, all right, if you're going to switch everything, you're going to have Gallo, Portis, some of these guys out here. Maybe we're just going to go put them on an island on one side of the floor with a Siakam and just make it so you can't hold up. Like, I think that could be it. Or we're going to, look, if you're really going to switch everything, can we get your 2 worst defenders on Siakam and Halliburton and then have them run in action and just get blitzed? So I wonder if Doc will have to play more just good switchable defenders. But I think that might be where we go. And then Lopez's minutes maybe get limited even more. I also think, if Lopez is going to be on a wing, do you have that guy screen? But I think the Bucks at a certain point would just say, fine, we'll leave Aaron Nesmith open on pick and pops. If that's your offense, we don't care. We'll live with it until we can't anymore. I do think, though, despite they got by without a lot of Andre Jackson Jr. last game, they might need the athleticism and the defense of him more in this game, now that we know Carlisle and company are going to be very ready for the switching and everything. And frankly, I would just be surprised if there weren't better counters that made Milwaukee pay for, really relying on Gallo as their bench big in this game.
All right. What is Beasley's best role right now for this team?
Exactly what we saw last game. Again, assuming, well, let's just ignore Giannis and Dame of it all. And it's pretty similar, but he just needs to be a spark plug, instant offense, microwave kind of guy. And it sounds strange because he's usually, you say that about a bench player, and technically he's starting right now, but he's usually not right away in the game doing that, right? They start out with a lot of Chris Middleton, maybe some Bobby Portis. There's going to be points in this game when Chris has to sit, when other guys have to sit or are just, cold. He's got to take advantage and open up space for the rest of the offense by continuing to play the way he's played. I have appreciated the fact that he can tell right now, it's clear his role is a little different. It's not stand in the corner and wait until a shot arrives, which is how he played earlier in the series. He's got to go find, make, and take shots. There are not many shot makers left on the Bucks who are more dynamic than Malik Beasley, especially on the perimeter. So much of their offense right now is post-centric, and that's fine. You take what you get when you're down 2 stars, but they need more juice from beyond the arc. They need more juice from their guards. I think Beverly's done a good job creating, but also more driving at the rim. Beasley has taken the top off the defense a little bit, which makes it easier for everyone else. He's got to continue doing that. Be aggressive. If you have a little bit of space, shoot. The shots that drove me crazy early in this series, now the Bucks need him to live and just have enough juice. So I think he needs to continue doing that and just fight defensively, try to not pick up so many fouls. We know he's limited there, but just, continue to force some steals to make up for it at least, and then knock down shots, and the Bucks can live with that.
All right. Exit question. Where is Chris Middleton in your pantheon of Bucks players in history? We talking jersey, rafters, we talking statue, as Butchie says. Should we name a street after him? Where's Ty Windisch on the Middleton pantheon of Bucks players in history?
All of the above, but I'm a sucker to recognize guys. Yeah, all of the above. We talked on the show that his statue should be like part fountain, so it sweats. That would be like the true Middleton experience. But I've
just have little pores that have a small drip of water coming down it.
Yeah, it's got like a bird bath feature.
Icicles in the winter. So you go get a picture. You get two pictures, one with the bronze fawns, the other one with the icicle Chris statue. Sweating
I'm for it.
in the middle of February.
The sweating middle. Beautiful.
All right. The Gyro Step Podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. GYRO as the Greek delicious stick meat that it is. Ty Windisch Show is a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, my friend. Go Bucks, and we'll see everyone back here for Game 7. Sounds like a plan,
Let's
right?
do it.
I hope
do
so.
it.
Love it.
Let's do it.